Good morning. We're in Genesis 47, guys. Let's see. We only got three more chapters and we're done with Genesis. Yes, we've done all other chapters prior to this, so we're in Genesis 47. We're not just a thing. We do our Bible study from front to back. That's what we do. Congratulations. Genesis 47, verse 1. No, we're not just in 47. We did all other ones first. Yes, you've been missing out. Okay, and then, no, 47 verse 1. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, My father and my brethren and their flocks and their herds and all that they have are come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took some of his brethren and 5 men and presented them unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, What is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, Thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. They said moreover unto Pharaoh, For to sojourn They said moreover unto Pharaoh, For to sojourn in the land are we come. For thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. It's important to note to me right here is that whenever you're coming in reality, if you come into a place, it's not just, here in America we have like this fake ideology that we're all on cookies and cream and we're on pink clouds. In the real world, when you pull up somewhere and there's authority there, like Egypt or anywhere, there's going to be, it's not just, oh, we're here, we're free. That's not how that works. Okay, so they're coming up, saying we're your servants, da 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 da. Because it's not like you just pull up and everybody just leaves you alone. That's not how that works. That's not how the real world works. You're either a threat, or you're either a threat to the authority, or you're on board with the authority. There's really no two sides of the street, and that's just life. And that's the way God looks at it, really. I think, because, when you pull up at God, off the muscle, he's going to say, what have you been doing? He's going to say, okay, what's your occupation? What do you do? Oh, well, I do drugs, I do this, la, 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 I look at porn, blah, 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 blah. He's going to say, what the? No, we don't, no. You got to go. You're way off scale, okay? Now, I'm not saying I do that. I don't do that, okay? There was a time that I did, but it's been a long time. Not crazy long, about 5 months. It's important to note that in the world, we're not just, it's just an illustration that when you pull up, everything's not just all kosher. No, you need to be stating your position that you're not a threat to national security, and being idle is a threat. You're not just, that's not a real thing to just do nothing. That's not a real thing. You're doing something. End of story, man. Let me push on. If y'all don't see the picture, I don't know what to tell you. That's not the way the world works. People had to die. The peace that we have in this country, people had to die for that. In wars. And we have armed forces. and veterans and stuff. We have a reason that we live at peace right now. It's not because you're just supposed to be that way. So they pulling up. Joseph's taking tender care to make sure they have the right diplomacy so that they get where they need to be, and that's an image of the Christ to me. Christ is our stuff. Christ is he's our mediator. He's interceding. He's the one talking to Pharaoh on their behalf. Okay? He's a big influencer. That's what we need to know. All right, let me push on for a minute. But yeah, I'm trying to get the point that when you pull up in God, it's not just, oh God, you said we were free. La 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 la. Yeah, free to do my will. Yeah, it's regular stuff, man. Just everything's not all cookies and cream. Period. They said, moreover, unto Pharaoh, for to Sawyer. I feel like I just rambled about nothing for a minute. I'm just trying to make an illustration that, in life and in reality, they're pulling up and they're letting them know their occupation. There is just no known occupation. You don't just have no occupation. That's not how that works. What happened is society has come into that place. That's not the way the world works in reality. No, you have to have occupation. It's not just, I do nothing. That's something that we have devolved into. Okay. It's not, I do nothing. That's not how that works. So I just want to throw that out there. I understand if you're disabled or something like that, but you're either for the cause or you're not. Okay. You're doing something. Spiritually, for sure. Anyway, I feel like I'm getting nowhere with that. Okay. So. Now. Therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, thy father and thy brethren are coming to thee. The land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen let them dwell. And if thou knowest any men of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle. Men of activity. See, now this is almost an image of, okay, if you guys are doing the Lord's work in the world, if you're active, if you're doing stuff, that's big for God. God, that's what God wants to see. God wants to see, God's like, hey, if any of them, it says right here, the land of Egypt. In the land of Goshen let them dwell, and if thou knowest any men of activity among them, men of activity, then make them rulers over my cattle. He's telling them, hey, yeah, it says it right there, if you know anybody who's actively doing stuff in there, make them rulers over my cattle. And that the cattle is almost an image to me. You take it how you want to take it. It's an image. It's not uncommon to hear cattle used for a substitute for people. That's just common, okay? Now I know that's not what he's saying here, but I'm using the analogy of what God is saying to I think that's an analogy of of what happens when we're doing the Lord's work. Okay? So when we do the Lord's work, God sees it. We're men of activity, or women, or when God sees that we're men of activity, or Jesus, He's going to say, make them rulers over my cattle. Now, I don't know if that's in the life to come or now or what. I'm sure some of it's now. But yeah. Newsflash, y'all, we're not dying. Sorry. We're not dying. I guess you didn't get the memo. We're here forever. Maybe not in this body, but same personality, I think. Ouch. All right. So, verse 7. And Joseph, 47 verse 7, Genesis. And Joseph brought in Jacob his father and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. That's awesome. You know, it blows me away how, atheists or any of those stuffs, concepts like holiness, blessings, anything on that realm, which is also this realm, obviously, is completely thrown out the window. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a illusion, delusion, a tradition. It blows me away. Prayer. It blows me away how they just throw so much stuff out the window to go along with whatever they're doing. And that just blows me away how you can dismiss so much stuff. So I just want to throw that out there. How can you dismiss the concept of holiness? I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I hear your style, but that's a lot to dismiss. I'm just saying, that's a lot to dismiss. And you're telling me you don't see anything there that value or potential? I mean, I'd like to hear that. And dude, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. But they're not going to give me the open floor like that, trust me. They're not going to give me the open floor. I'll be shut down and kicked. Guarantee it. But I'm telling you, bro, I'm going to be a beast. I'm going to be a beast. Because I have so much stuff. I don't write it down. It's all going to come at the right time. I just feel like that's how the Lord works. If the Lord wants me to say it, I'll say it. I'm studying, but a lot of my stuff is just right off the hip. Right off the hip. And it doesn't all have to come at one time. You know, maybe I'll write a paper in a minute. All right, let's go. I think I'll write a thesis. Yeah, I think I'll write a thesis, a short declaration thesis. Okay, here we go. And Pharaoh said unto Jacob, verse 8, How old art thou? And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, The days of the years is it just me, or is it really bright behind me? Is God behind me? Golly. Here I am talking about holiness, and I'm just enveloped in white light. What's going on here? I tried to tell y'all. That's just regular sunlight, just glaring white. Is that just me, or do y'all see that? Not the first time. There it goes again. Golly. Lord, thank you. Is that regular sunshine that does that, or just the lighting, or what? Sheesh. Take me, Lord. Okay. That's just a regular light, just blaring. I don't know what that's amazing. It's gotta be God. Now, and Pharaoh said unto Jacob, and Jacob said unto Pharaoh, the days, verse 9, 47 Genesis, verse 9. And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been. Whew. And have not attained unto the days of the years. And have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. By the way, y'all, well, let me not say that. I was going to say this place isn't our home, but, you know. Okay. Now I take that back. I'm not sure about that. That's big. Let me go up to verse 9 on that, because that's big. We don't anything that has any type of, if he's just being like brutally honest and humble, we like to look at that, because that's really humble, because he did live a good life as far as I know. And now he's saying his days have been few and evil. See, I was just talking about holiness. And here we have the contrast of holiness. He draws a contrast, even through his life. He says, look, he's basically saying he understands holiness in a nutshell. He's saying, my life is evil and few. My days have been few and evil. You know, I guess he's saying in comparison to the Most High or whatever. Let's see what he says in the other verse, you know, because that's kind of big. We love that stuff. Okay. 47. Anything that's going to shed light on God and the real and His truth. That's what we want to look at. Okay. 47 verse 9. Okay. All right. And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, the days of the years of my sojourning are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained to the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their sojourning. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from the presence of Pharaoh. So Jacob blessed Pharaoh twice. That's deep. I don't care who you are. That's deep. Wow. I mean, that's my impact for the day. That was huge. Jacob comes in, he blesses Pharaoh. You know, not to mention he's kind of in Pharaoh's hands. I mean, you know, it's kind of an interesting topic, because Pharaoh is slick enslaving them right now. And you know, slavery is a big misinterpreted word. With as I'm learning, you know, and I'm not pro-slavery. People say God is pro-slavery and it's not, but he's already slick taking them into I mean, Pharaoh already draws a clear distinction culturally. They don't eat with them because they're shepherds, apparently. I don't know how that works. All I know is that he's already putting them into some type of servitude, it seems. He said, any able men have them shepherd my flocks. And it's not like, I mean, it's kind of like a tit for tat kind of thing. Okay, we're bringing you in. We're giving you great things, and we're taking care of you, and stuff like that. I mean, kind of like, but at the same time, hey, y'all mind helping out? I think he asks. He said, let's see. It says, settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. Let them settle in the land of Goshen, and if you know any able men among you, put them in charge of my livestock. And a lot of times in diplomacy, a lot of stuff is posed as a question, but really it's like, hey, go do that. And that's important to know. Somebody might be like, hey, and that's the way diplomacy works. You see people shaking hands and stuff like that, in diplomacy, but really it's like, okay, if you don't, we're really about to come kill you. It really unalive. We're really about to unalive you. Excuse me, TikTok. I know I'm not supposed to say that. Kill. You're not supposed to say it's unalive, y'all. I'm learning the lingo. Okay. So diplomacy is kind of tricky and hairy. So it's an interesting dynamic here to understand how this is all initiating into this process of where we're going to end up, to be mistreated and everything else. But that's just life. That's just life. Folk, people are not going to do right. I hate to say this, guys. I've been to prison, okay? And it's not just like you can just go and get your store and keep your stuff. It doesn't work like that. Someone is going to come take your stuff if there's no one there to stop them. That's the way the world works. End of story. Have a nice day. There's not enough resources to go around to keep everybody happy. So what happens is, if you have something they want, they come and get it or try to take it. That's just the way the world works. People are not going to just do right. That's not the way the world works. Okay? So I just want to throw that out there. That's a news flash. That's a news flash. Okay? Anytime you're in an area with limited resources and there's appetites involved, substances, mind-altering substances, food, candy, snacks, drinks, anything that is something desirable, there's going to be war and toil over this stuff. If there's no authority in place or a blocker in place to keep someone from getting your stuff, people are going to come get your stuff. Or you. And that's just human nature. It's a power struggle. It's insane, man. Trust me. I've been there several times. I've seen untamed humanity. Okay, I've seen it. It gets really ugly. Don't sit here and tell me that anytime resources are involved, resources are limited, that someone is just going to be in a right space to say, hey, well, you know what, that's not mine. I'm not entitled to that. You have you. And we'll just leave you alone. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. In the real world is street gangs in the world. There are street gangs in the world. And the name of the game is eat. Survival. That's the name of the world game. Eat and survival. Not fairness. That's not how that works. But guess what? God isn't like that. There is a distinction between God and the world. God is a warrior, don't get me wrong. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. There's a distinction between man and God. Okay? If it was up to that, if it was up to God, I mean, it's up to God, but if God was fully, how can I say this? If everybody was in the right place, it wouldn't be like that. Okay? But we need to notice the distinction. Okay? Anyway, I don't feel like I'm getting somewhere. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys that, about when Pharaoh said, hey, if you see any of the men that are able, up here he said able, any able men, he said, if you see any able men, if you know any able men, up here it says able men, down there it said men of activity. Right out the gate, you can tell, I mean, you can tell he's got something up his sleeve with this. It ain't like you can say no. I mean, and all of this is taking place. The grand scheme of all this, for God, is for us to understand God and ultimately bring in the Christ. That's the grand scheme of all this stuff. FYI. I mean, all of this was, and not to mention to have this book. That's another part of the grand scheme. But the main critical thing is the Christ. And all this stuff ties into Christ. That's the main critical point of all this. And when God, and I honestly believe, and that's the main critical point of God, is for him to get his, I mean, one of his main points in the world, if not the main point, is for God to get his saints and his elect. Not to mention we're fighting a battle right now. We're fighting a battle right now in spiritual warfare, which who knows how many dimensions our impact is going through. It's not, what you're doing is not just here at Surface Meeting, but when you're doing the right thing and you're doing the Lord's work, it's not just about you going to heaven. You're fighting a battle, a spiritual battle that has impact far beyond your own, what you think it does. And when you do negative stuff and bad stuff, or on the fence, or whatever you want to call it, your impact is way more than you think it is. Okay? So understand, guys, it's not just about you. It goes far-reaching into other dimensions, spiritual places. And that's just me preaching. That's not Bible. But that's just something that I take away from a necessary deduction of what's going on. We're not just here for no reason. We're here to fight the fight, the good fight. So you might say, this is ridiculous. Somebody might say, well, that's ridiculous. If God was all powerful, what does he need? Why are we here doing this stuff when he could just end it right there? Or just, guess what? I don't know. I don't know why God does that, but guess what? He does it. Look at the cross. Look at the world. You have to have enough eyes to see, or have God talk to you or something, because sooner or later you got to connect the dots. Sooner or later you got to put the pieces together and understand that this is not just all there is. When you look at cosmology and stuff like that, look at everything's eternal state, and it doesn't make any sense how everything just goes on forever, and it doesn't make any logical sense. But that's not something that's readily spoken of. Yeah, we hear it here and there. We hear stuff. We hear statements like that, but we don't ever really think about it. We hear stuff like that, but no, that's not how that works. Okay? So I just want to throw that out there, that Pharaoh said, he basically asked Joseph, in a sense, but yeah, it's really just, y'all better start tightening up. He's basically calling them into duty. And it may not mean that much at the moment, but it's going to turn into a serious thing. Okay, so hopefully I'm making some sense. Sometimes I wonder. And Joseph placed his father. So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. And 11, and Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt. Wow. I just had a interesting thought for my debates. Okay. Okay. I don't see one. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. Ramesses. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to. Look at that light. Is that just me? I guess it's because I'm up front and it's dark versus the light, but Y'all call it what you want, man. There's something in that. There's something up with that. Oh, now it gets dark. See? Whew. Unbelievable. I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet, guys. I'll be quiet. Okay, so I got a new phone with a new camera. All right. So I like to do the videos out here because of the birds, especially in the morning time. It's actually afternoon now, but I like to do it out here because it's just a nice natural background soundtrack. But this light thing is a nice thing, but I can't always come out here because a lot of times with the humidity, if it's not windy enough, the mosquitoes will go crazy. So that's why we're not always out here. But maybe I'll try something more picturesque. I think I will do that. That's a good idea. I'm going to try that. Maybe tomorrow or something I'll go to like a park. I mean, I live on the lake. What my mom does. And I'll get a more picturesque view. We'll try that one day. It's a good idea. All right. And joke. Verse 12. 47:12. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their families. And Joseph, and there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by the reason of famine. Okay, so they pretty much had to go down there. Well, let me say this, it was in their best interest to go, you know. So they really didn't have an option. I mean, I say that maybe they would have survived, away from Egypt. I don't know. I just try to examine the situation, And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Isn't that interesting? I didn't know they had corn in the Middle East. I thought that was something that the American Indians introduced. That shows how much I know. I thought they had like wheat. I mean, grain. I thought that's what it was. Apparently it was corn. That's very interesting. I did not know that. I mean, I've heard it, but I thought corn was something that was native to the Americas. That shows how much I know. when we finish with Genesis, y'all, we're going to do an overview where we can really just. We're going to do a video just completely on the overview of Genesis. Okay. And I'm going to prepare for that. It may even take more than one video, but it's going to be strictly an overview of Genesis because we're literally almost done with Genesis. We're in 47. There's 50 chapters. We're not going to finish with 47 today. All right. We're in no hurry. We got all of eternity. But I mean, that's pretty good moving what we're doing. In Sundays we do New Testament. Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna fish 47 today. In Joseph nourished, we're about quality, not quantity. All right, that's what we're doing here. We're all about quality. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. Wow. This is literally a economy crashing. And that's not a good image. You know, if the economy was to crash in the world, you'd literally be looking for water and food. No money in the stores, no restaurants. You would literally be every man for himself. Cannibalizing could happen. We've seen enough movies about what happens when everything falls. Everybody's seen enough movies. Hopefully it never comes to that. But all the deer that are running around and stuff, they'll be good eating. You know, and it would be really bad. It would really be ugly. We need to be thankful for the country we have and, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, everybody that's trying to keep everything stable for the sake of the world and everything, they're doing it for a reason. The people that have been elected in office. At the end of the day, they have the best interest for the most part. At the end of the day, it's for the people. It's for the best interest of the people. Sometimes there's no easy answer. Okay? But this is an image to me. There's another image here. It hasn't really come to me yet. But yeah, doomsday preppers. They're out there, buddy. They're ready. They got stuff stored up, water, guns, you name it. They're ready. Because guess what? If society falls and police don't have money for their paychecks, they're not going to be working. It's every man for himself. People will be clicking up, you know, and it'll get real ugly. You better get right with God if something happens like that. Because the survival rate is going to get real low at that point. Hopefully it never happens. Hopefully it never happens. According to Revelation, it gets pretty ugly. You know, and I know that sucks, but that's just reality. Doesn't mean God isn't real. Um, and I'm just bringing this up because it says right here, the money faileth. There's no economy no more. There's nothing to buy. The bread's gone. I mean, people have money, but there's no bread to do anything with. There's nothing to buy. I mean, there's no money left. There's no money left. Everybody, and you know that, I'm not getting into all the economic discussion, but yeah, hopefully everything's in good hands. You know, God's in charge. They just keep printing money like boom, 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 boom. It's supposed to be all backed by gold. Who knows? I'm not in that conversation. I don't know. All I know is that if money falls, it will be pure mayhem out here. No more grocery stores. Just get it how you live. Get your hunting bows out. Those deer will be gone in no time. They're running around like cockroaches right now. You can't even go out your door at night without getting ran over. Around here. You know, we're very blessed in the world to have access to food and everything like we do. It's not like that everywhere. We're very blessed. And of course, every blessing gets abused. And that's me too. I'm overeating, all that stuff. So, the reality of things that Pharaoh was saying back here is that you know, you're not just here, you have to work. Any men of activity, please let them take care of my cattle. He's basically telling them, hey, you're here, but you're going to work. I mean, and that's just regular stuff. We're not just here for no reason. And that's an illustration from God. We're not just here for no reason. Okay, we're not just here for no reason. You've been given your intelligence. You've been given discernment. It's not always working for people. I can tell you that right now. It's not always working. And that's me too. It's not always working. I can tell you right now, if you miss God and you don't believe in God, and you don't believe in the Christ, and you don't believe in the Bible, you've missed the picture. You have missed the boat. The plane has left the terminal. You're still standing there with your ticket. They're already gone. They've already landed. You're still at the ticket like, hey, where y'all going? Sir, that plane left 27 hours ago. Can we help you? You're going to have to go buy another ticket. Another flight will be here in 2 days, sir. We'll have another flight leaving in 2 days. I suggest you go get a hotel for a couple of days. I don't have any money for that. That's the position y'all are in. You're still waiting on a bus that has already left. You might as well just take off walking. Because that's how far God is from y'all. You're literally trying to walk from New York to Sydney, Australia. I mean, you got to walk to the end of the country, to the coastland. You got to literally swim or hop on a boat or a jet ski or something, and go through these treacherous seas. It's going to have constant refuelings. You're never going to get there without the device that God has provided. And it says in Scripture that the man can have the whole world. What good does it do if he loses his soul? So whatever your ideology is, get your foundation right first. And it's not that God doesn't exist. That's not what's going on here. You're really not realistically going to get from New York to Sydney, Australia, any other way than a plane. Not to mention customs and everything else. There's literally no way that you can get there by your own means. I take that back. You might be a sailing man. You might find a boat. You might have enough resources to get a bunch of gas and throw it on a boat, and you know, you might make it there. By some, you know, you got GPS and you're a pretty techie guy, and you got charging ports and everything else. You might get there. But it says also in the New Testament that everybody's not going to be allowed. You got to have the right garments on. You need to be meeting the criteria. You can't just get there and say, "Oh, I'm here. I let myself in." No, you have to pass customs and everything else, and have the right documentation. This is just illustrations I'm giving you. There is no way around this. And the beauty of it is that the proof is all right here. You see illustrations upon illustrations upon illustrations upon illustrations and allegories and parallels, all foreshadowing what's going on in the world. Okay, so we stopped at a bad place because we're in the middle of an illustration about the money failing. And that's an important image because we're spiritually bankrupt. At the end of the day, we're completely in Pharaoh's hands. Hey, are y'all going to give us some bread or what? Yes, right here. It's the Christ. Here, take it. It's right here. The bread and body. It's right here. He says it right there. I'm the bread. I'm the life. I'm the truth. Here, take it. It's free. He says it right there. That's Jesus' words. And they're right here looking for bread. But they have no money. And it says right here. Give us bread. Why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. And Joseph said, give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. And basically, he's really breaking them at this point. He's taking everything. Okay, if you got no money, we'll take your cattle. I mean, he's being fair, but he's being fair, but God is not just going to take nothing, y'all. You need to be giving up something for the Lord. I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm just saying. And I may be making a bad parallel here. Guys, it's just important to note that we're completely in his hands. Don't come to God with nothing. And I'm not getting into the faith and works thing and all that. Don't come to God with nothing. Especially not without a sincere study and understanding of his principles, which is all right here. All right, guys, so look. We stopped at Fit 47, around about, and it's getting interesting here. I'm excited about tomorrow because it's getting really hairy and interesting right here because there's a lot of dilemmas. A lot of dilemmas about what. Okay, so we'll stop. We're on YouTube at Preach Facts. We're on TikTok at Preach Facts 7. You can reach out at the Gmail at preachfacts7@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us or watching us. And we're doing good. We're 47 chapters into Genesis. We've done all the other chapters right here. And it's all posted. And I stand behind all my content. Okay? Well, I'll let you go, man. I think all my content is pretty solid. There may be a couple mistakes. I don't know. But we're trying. Okay, so guys, I'm letting you go. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.